And then after that, we did have an amendment to our peddlers ordinance that we have. So this is a big change, and this is something that has actually came to be because of residents coming to us, telling us the problems that they're having, all in regards to these door-to-door salespeople that have been coming in town. Door-to-door sales is a protected First Amendment right, so we're not able to completely ban door-to-door sales or door-to-door solicitation in Monmouth. So what we've done is kind of what some of the other cities in the region have done, and plus some different additions to ours as well, to kind of really vet and slim down the quality of the door-to-door solicitors that are coming. Solar is a huge thing here in Monmouth now with these solicitors. Illinois has done a number of different incentives around solar energy, and that has drawn a lot of these people from out of state. We see some of them from Washington, California, New York, basically all over the nation that are coming into Illinois to perform these sales. With talking with our citizens, we have discovered that they're using, some of them are using very predatory tactics. They're wanting to see people's bills. We've had some of them claim that they're even working with Ameren. A lot of the times they are entering these people into 15 and 30-year agreements, so mortgage length agreements to pay for these solar systems, which create large problems when they either go to sell their real estate, or the rates change for the current sales of electricity. So what we've done is we've changed the fee for a license to $50 per solicitor per day for a profit license, and $25 for a daily not-for-profit license. There's been a way that some of these solar salespeople have claimed that they're a not-for-profit, so we did add something in there as well. One of the things that they also have to do is wear an ID badge. The ID badge has to be issued from the city of Monmouth. It'll have their picture on it. It'll have their name, what company they're working from, that kind of thing. They also have strict requirements, all solicitors do, for if we have complaints and we find that they're using what we would determine to be predatory tactics, taking advantage of our residents and consumers. We can pull their license, and they're essentially banned for life at that point under a different statute. So what we did was we updated all that, and we also added a penalty. So if anybody comes to your house and they are not permitted by us, meaning they don't have an ID card, they don't have any of that, we do have a fine that starts at $125 for the first offense with them and goes up. So anybody who's listening to this, the main thing that you need to know is in a couple weeks, if anybody comes to your door and they're trying to sell anything, and that could be from a box of chocolates to solar energy, they should have an ID badge around their neck that has the City of Monmouth stamp, a signature on it, has their picture, their name, a company they're with, and phone number. If they don't have that and they can't produce that, I do encourage everybody to call the police department at 734-8383 and report that individual, so our law enforcement officers can take corrective action on that. This is something that we're taking very seriously because of the massive influx and the amount of just people that have come to us and the things that they've been saying due to these solicitors. So we're really taking a hard stance on this, and hopefully we can get a little bit of change there.
There were so many of them.
Yeah, and when Dan Swanson was in town for the Ag Breakfast and the Ag Roundtable, he did mention that the state of Illinois has compiled a website with legitimate solar energy companies that are working in Illinois, and a list of those who are not legitimate. I don't know, Ken, do you remember
Yeah.
that website that they can get that list from? And I think we're going to try and link to that so folks, if they get people here, that they can at least have access to some information to make sure they're dealing with somebody that's legitimate.
Yeah, I don't have that off the top of my head, but this ordinance takes approximately 2 weeks to take effect now that they have voted on it. And as soon as that takes effect, we are going to do large public safety outreaches with you, Vanessa, and with our website and our social media page that have really easily digestible basically do's and don'ts with the solicitors. And I don't want readers to think that all solar salespeople are using these tactics and that they're all bad, because they're not. There are a couple good companies that have come into town that have good, legitimate offers that may meet the consumer's price profile and their long-term standing. However, by and large, the ones that we have seen, I would not rate them as somebody who would probably sit on the state list for saying they're okay to sell in Illinois. And we will handle, when we issue the permits to them, we will also be running through that list to see if they're on it or if they're not. If they're not on the approved list with the state of Illinois, they won't get issued a permit through us. There's a fine line that we have to walk due to their constitutional rights.
Sure.
But we do have a plan for it, and I'm optimistic on the outcome of it.
Well, and you're right. I would say of the 14 or so that visited our neighborhood, 2 were very pleasant. Were not predatory. They were very just, here's the program. These are some of the options. But some of them, yes. I mean, you were told things like you're not going to have any power if you don't do this. Yeah. They were with Ameren. They had signed agreements, all kinds of different, and they were from out of state, a lot of them. But it's good that you guys analyzed and addressed the proper way to change this ordinance to deal with it.
Yeah, and if you're thinking about entering with solar in particular, any agreements with them, it's very important to look at what the overall rates are that you're going to be inclined to buy for 5-6 years, however the contract is defined, and what happens if you sell your house, and what happens if you no longer wish to buy power from the provider that is selling these solar panels. A lot of the times there's a clawback on the price of the solar panels plus the installation, and sometimes the rates can have some hidden fees that are in them as well.
Sure. Yeah, I wish we could get that changed in our country. The predatory sales, naughty contracts with small fine print that are indeed, in fact, meant to get people into a position where they cannot or may not be able to afford, or it's taking advantage of them. I really wish we could get back to being good, honest people, shaking hands But that's not the way it is.
No.
Horse and buggy, guys. Horse and buggy.
Yep.
Turn off the internet.
Yep.
And one of the biggest problems is if some of these contracts that people sign that don't get all the fine print vetted can restrict the transfer of ownership, in that the new buyer has to assume the contract and all the liability, and that could be a very big problem. That could certainly impact someone's desire to, sell their house.
Just getting your roof re-roofed. As a new homeowner who took on that contract, there's small print, we're told, by people. So